Hey, everybody, trying to get my camera in friggin' position here. I hated the downward angle yesterday, or the upward angle yesterday. I guess I got to live with it again today, guys. It is what it is, right? Welcome to the show. Chuck Barone here. Again, hating this upward camera angle. It makes me look like my eyes are closed the whole freaking show. It's not cool, but it's good to be here, guys. I'm glad to be here today. And we got a lot of things to discuss. It's been a wacky kind of couple of weeks in the market that I've been gone. I want to get everybody caught up and get you guys kind of on the right path of where things are at and where things are going. So let's get started. Markets today, as you guys have probably seen, markets were kind of mixed today. We had, some news in the markets today, which caused them to kind of freak out a little bit. So we had mixed results. The Dow falls 96 points, sitting at 38,972. The NASDAQ rallies 59 points, 16,035 on the NASDAQ, and the S&P rallies just 8 points, 5,078. So the stock markets had kind of a weird day. The Dow is really, that one's a little more volatile because it's a much smaller index, right? There's only 30 stocks in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So that makes it a little bit more volatile, right? One stock having a bad day can really change it. The broader markets, NASDAQ and the S&P, the broadest of the markets, having a better day. So that tells you that probably one or two stocks in the Dow not doing well drag the whole friggin' average down. Bond market, a couple of things. The reason the market was mixed today, well, we got some bad data today. Consumer sentiment falling, manufacturing falling. Both of these things were expected to be up with these reports. They were not. And we got a problem, right? So the bond market, another weird day for the bond market, though. Listen to these numbers, guys. The 10-year sells off, rates rally up, sitting at 4.32%, up just 2 basis points. But the 2-year at the same time, I guess they must have been selling 10 years and buying 2-year bonds because the 2-year rallies, they falling 2 basis points, now at 4.70%. So it's kind of a weird weird day in the markets overall. Not really much to talk about today. The dollar pretty much unmoved, sitting at 103.80, up just 2 basis points. Gold and silver, well, they moved a little bit to the downside, but not very much. Gold falling $1.20. So now at $2,030.40 for an ounce of gold, still a good price. Silver falls 8 cents, $22.41 for an ounce of silver. So I still think that gold and silver are at pretty good prices right now. I think that, they are fairly priced. I would like to see, gold rally up, but I think silver is really the undervalued one. I think silver should be, with gold at 2,000, the idea of silver at, $25 is not a crazy one. So I think that, I think silver still has some room to run. Let me get this camera straightened out here. Try to get myself in the center of it, right? Well, there's the window. We don't want that. Anyway, this is one of the fun things about going live, guys. We're still trying to work all the kinks out of it all. And, as you can see, there's going to be a little bit of glitches every now and then, right? Okay, back to the markets. So gold and silver falling today, but in a very small way. Oil rallies up. Oil another $1.10 to the upside, $78.68. I tell you guys, don't get too excited about the price of oil. It's going to come back down. I think that 70 to 75 is where it wants to be and where it's going to end up. So these little breakouts to the upside or to the downside, don't get too excited about those. They're just not really, I guess if you're trading or you're an options player, okay, maybe that means something. But to the average investor, the difference between 75 and 77 or 78 is just not even, it's not there, okay? Bitcoin is on a tear, guys. Have you seen these numbers? Bitcoin rallies up another $2,500 today, now sitting $56,940, a very, very good number for Bitcoin. I said it yesterday, Bitcoin is going to break that all-time record. I think it's around 69,000. It's going to beat it. It's going to break it. I would not be shocked with these ETFs and the way Bitcoin's been changing. would not be shocked to see Bitcoin hit $100,000 someday. Um, as it gets more and more acceptance into the market, and it's not seen so much as a fringe or kind of risky, gambly type of asset, you're going to see more and more people buying it. And as you do, of course, you're going to see the prices go up, up, up. All right, so let's talk about some stuff in the markets today. We don't have very much activity on the chat here, at least that I'm getting. So let's talk about the markets. Walmart, you might not have seen this. This actually went down yesterday, has a 3-for-1 stock split. Now, back when I was a broker, I loved stock splits. Now, what happens with the stock split, you guys are probably aware of how it works. But what happens is Walmart takes one share of Walmart stock, and it was at that time selling for about $175 per share. And they split that one share into 3 shares. Okay. Now you don't get 3 shares at the same 175, right? So it drops the value down equally each share. So it was down to about $58. Okay. So you had, instead of 1 share at 175, you got 3 shares at $58 and change to equal that same 175. Okay. Now, the reason they do this and the reason it's so good for investors to have a stock that splits. Okay, imagine you have Walmart at $175. That's a turnoff to a lot of small investors. Okay, people like to spend, between $20 and $100 per share would be probably the most popular numbers. Investors like those smaller price stocks, especially if there's still earnings attached to that. So what happens is when the price goes from 175 down to 58, it attracts new buyers. Okay, so the stock starts to rally up because people see it as cheap. Okay, and what happens is every dollar now that stock goes up, the shareholder makes $3 because he owns 3 shares, right? So I used to love selling my clients this stuff. I remember when I was at Lehman, there was a broker there, a friend of mine, who got a lot of his clients into Amgen. Amgen's a biotech company, and that stock split, it had to split 20 times while he was selling it to his clients. I think that he made hundreds of millionaires with that stock. Stock splits really work. They really will push it. Now, the Walton family, imagine the Walton family, how many shares are they going to hold, right? The Walton family owns 40% of the stock in Walmart. 40%, okay? And making them obviously one of the wealthiest families in the world. The market cap for Walmart is around $500 billion, okay? So the Walton family, I think there's 3 or 4 of them splitting it up, have a pile of $200 billion there, Walmart stock. Plus they just bought the Denver Broncos. They've been buying up assets. Very, very wealthy family. You might want to take a look at, if you're a stock player, Walmart would be, to me at least, attractive because the price is down. You'll probably see a little bit of a rally. Obviously would have been better to own the Walmart stock before the split, right? But it is what it is. I think you'll see a little bit of a bump in Walmart stock. We have this, did you see this latest blurb about debt in the country? It was so bad. 1 in 3 Americans, 1 in 3, now has more credit card debt than they have savings. Guys, we're doomed, man. How are people supposed to live when they're paying 28% interest on a bigger pile of money than they have saved, earning 3% or 4% interest? It's just not going to work out. This is a really, really, really bad sign, right? It tells us that, people are having difficulty making ends meet. They've depleted their savings. So now they're relying on credit and credit cards to make ends meet. That never ends well, guys. You create a debt spiral, you're going to see bankruptcies spike. And it's the absolute antithesis to everything we've been teaching you guys on this show. We've been trying to tell you guys, look, what are the principles we've been teaching? Number 1, save money out of every single paycheck. The target is 10% of your income. Whatever you can save, just make sure you save something. You want to learn to live on less than you bring in. This is what starts the wheels turning on building real wealth. Learning to live on less than you make, okay? Learning to live within your means. The second thing we teach don't add on new debt, right? Everybody's already got a certain level of debt. A lot of you guys watching this show don't, and that's kind of cool. But a lot of you guys do. The idea is don't add on any new debt. My mentor, the genius, used to tell me, if you have to borrow to buy, you can't afford it, right? So if you're borrowing money to buy things, those are things you can't afford. Might be time to reassess how you're spending your money, right? The third thing we've been teaching, pay down your existing debt. So if you have a credit card debt already, whatever type of debt you have, try your best to pay a little extra on that debt every month, even if it's just an extra $10. Now, I personally like Dave Ramsey's theory where you kind of just pay the minimum on your debts, except for the smallest one. And you like, say you have 3 credit cards, you owe 6,000 on one, 3,000 on one, and 1,000 on another. Okay, so you got 10,000 in credit card debt. What the way it works is you make minimum payments on the 6, minimum payments on the 3, okay, and you make all the let's say you would have been paying $200 each on these cards, okay. Instead, you pay 100 on the 6,000, you pay the minimum. You pay 50 on the 3,000, you pay the minimum. Now you have $350 left, $450 left. So now you take that whole $450 and apply it to the smallest debt until that debt zeroes out. Then you do the same method, same money with the next level until you get all of your debts paid off. And I'm telling you guys, debt-free is freedom. Not having that monthly debt where you got every penny you're working for gets paid out as soon as you get it on debt. Having that extra money left over, having disposable income, having money to decide, do I want to spend this money? Do I want to save this money? What do I want to do with it? That's where you guys want to get to, right? The fourth thing we've been teaching you guys, right? Invest your money conservatively. Especially if you're just starting out on savings and you don't have a lot of money to invest. You don't want to be taking risk with your savings. You want to protect your nest egg. You want to build that money, build the return slowly until you can build it up, and then maybe you can take some speculative shots in some little bit more risky type of assets, right? And then the fifth thing we've been teaching you guys and trying to teach is to spend your money wisely, to beware of the impulse buys, to try to plan where you're spending your money, to try to make sure that you're not there's nothing wrong with spending money. We all have to spend money. Everybody does.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
There's my Siri responding to me. So we all know you have to spend money. Spend your money wisely. Be very, very careful spending your money. The idea being not to waste it, not to buy things you really don't need until you're in surplus. Then you can buy whatever you want, you can afford to. So these are the principles we've been teaching, guys. Stick to these principles and you will ultimately be wealthy. Now, I guess the definition of wealth depends, right? Some people consider you have to have $1 million to be wealthy. Some people, it's more than that. Some people, if they had $100,000, would consider themselves wealthy, right, guys? So here's the way it works. If you're living on less than you earn, okay, I tell you guys, that is where it starts. Because now you can start to save. It changes the lifestyle, right? It makes it where you learn to appreciate that kind of lifestyle. You learn to appreciate, even if you're only saving as little as $50 out of your paycheck or whatever it is, you learn to get satisfaction from watching that money grow. And as it grows, I tell you guys, everybody starts the same way. My mentor, the genius, used to tell me all the time, you got to make a decision, Chuck. You can either be rich or you can live rich. There's a big difference there, right? Being rich, like if you read a book, say, The Millionaire Next Door, or some of these books about wealth and how it's really generated, there's where you want to be, guys. These people live frugally. They have everything they want. They have a beautiful home, nice cars. They just don't have the fanciest of everything, right? They don't have the number one car in America for self-made millionaires, according to the Millionaire Next Door. Guess what? Not a Mercedes, not a BMW, not a Tesla. It's a Ford F-150. So the average millionaire driving a pickup truck in America, guys. So when you see that pickup truck, that guy might be, your neighbor might be the millionaire, right? And And then lastly today, to finish up this credit card stuff, listen to this, guys. Right now, the U.S. has almost $1.1 trillion in credit card debt, and the average balance on credit cards is now $7,950. Really? So the average credit card holder is $8,000 in debt, has less than $8,000 in savings. Now, maybe if you're 20, that's okay. But if you're 30, 40, 50, moving toward retirement, well, it's not okay, right? You need to be doing better. Lastly, did you see this Kroger-Albertsons merger? They were going to, it was I think, $25 billion merger. And now the government's stepping in saying, no, 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 that's anti-competitive, it's antitrust. Now, they have completely ignored these antitrust rules for a long time, allowing these big companies, Microsoft being one of the biggest, a lot of the big Silicon Valley companies don't really create things anymore. They let the smaller companies create them. Then once they have a success, they swoop in and buy the company. Well, this really creates an anti-competitive market where the bigs can swallow up all the littles. They basically buy out their competition, and prices tend to go up when less competition is around in a market, right? So the government stepping in, blocking this big merger. I want to see how this all plays out in the courts, because if they do prevent that merger from happening, that might represent kind of a little bit of a change in the dynamics of the way the government looks at these giant mergers, and might lead to a little bit less of that stuff, right? Yeah, I've seen how much an F-150 costs. What are they, about $70,000 or $80,000 for a decently equipped one? One of my kids has one. He's got the Raptor. I think that thing was around $90,000. Beautiful truck, but wow, you know. So yeah, it's not only Ford F-150s. I mean, every car is outrageous in America these days, man. The prices are sickening. And but I just thought it was interesting that, I would think Mercedes or, some of these other kind of Euro brands would be the choice of millionaires. So it was pretty surprising to me that it was F-150. Anyway, guys, that's it for the day. I've been babbling away for about 17 minutes here. We appreciate your guys' support. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit your subscription button and your notifications so you get the notifications when we're going live. We plan on doing this show live every day around 1:30 when the market closes. I promise I'm going to get this camera angle all in order and all the rest of these glitches worked out. Doing it live is a little bit different, though, because unlike a video, I can't set the camera up before I shoot the live video. So when we're using a different camera now than we were for the recorded videos, so it's just taking a little bit of time to get it all worked out. Anyway, guys, as always, we appreciate your support. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys being here and making this show work. We'll be back again tomorrow live. We know we got big days coming up tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Get ready, man. Big data coming, could affect these markets. And let's keep an eye on Bitcoin, man. I think that thing is on a rocket ship to the moon right now. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need, man. We appreciate you guys. Take care. Thanks.